When they're broken, they're not involved. When they're healed or healing, they're involved. Welcome back to Along the Spiritual Journey. So, this is one topic that I see is talked about so much on the internet, and I feel people are getting closer to it. But sometimes it's just a little bit off because most of our history has taught us to think very linear or in a myopic type of view where we're only focused on one thing, even though there's a whole another half over here. We're focused on this thing. I need people to come back to the middle and focus on both. In order for something to heal, it has to break first. It has to split, it has to crack, it has to be fractured, right? This is the moment of gathering. This is the moment of understanding that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to not want to be involved. It's okay to not want to talk to people. It's okay to not care. Again, as long as you're not hurting anyone, you don't have to care about everything. And in this moment of brokenness, a lot of us think that we're supposed to try to pretend we care and try to be involved even if we don't want to. I know we have lives that we have to continue, but I always tell people it's okay to be honest. Like, listen, I am here to do this task. I can do this task, but I have a lot going on personally that I don't really want to talk about right now, but I want to be able to function. And that's a conversation that people should be like, no problem. Thanks for showing up. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. Okay? Healed is, or healing is, I know that I'm capable. I know that I've been through it. I don't have as many triggers. I don't have as many outbursts and breakdowns. And I'm at a point now where I'm finding some type of balance in life. And I feel that these definitions are important when it comes to dating and relationships in general because there's nothing wrong with trying to be involved with someone who's broken. That's not a bad thing. Broken is just a word. It's just a visual aid for people who can see something breaking. It's not about saying that you're less than or weak or any of that. Broken just simply means you're not all put together right now and you can't handle the weight of whatever it used to be because you need to get yourself back together. You need to gather yourself, right? So these are the times when I say when you meet people like this, especially in person or on apps, I ask them, do you want help? Do you want to engage? Because most of the time people think that because they're down and out, they want that. No, some people just process better alone that way. And disassociating and closing themselves off from the public is how they heal. And so I ask someone if they want me there or if they need that. And if they say no, then I validate that and leave them alone, right? I don't want them to feel like I'm not there for them, but I want them to have that moment of self to heal and come back together. During the healing process, I say it's a little bit more better to engage with people as far as dating then because compared to broken, you're probably a little bit more depressed and you're seeking things out of ego validation versus actually working on what's making you feel the way you feel. Once you get to that point of healing or healed, it's it's not going to be completely gone. You know you're going to have to deal with it again, but you're ready for it. You're prepared for it. You've done the research, the work, like we like to say, you've cried it out, you've prepared yourself, you understand that if this word is said again or this sound or this song comes on and reminds you of some memory and it takes you back, it's okay. Be taken back. Just don't get lost there. That's the part of healing and broken that's different. When you're broken, you stay there. When you're healing, you're walking away. You're detaching slowly. You're pulling off the bandages and you're understanding, I'm good, I'm done. That's the part of the journey that we have to remember when we are using discernment and we're meeting people and we're bringing them into our lives and introducing them into our peace and whatever that might look like. You have to know how to communicate that. And I found myself finding friends because again we talk about codependent relationships. When I was depressed, I was finding, or when I was broken and depressed, I was finding people who were broken and depressed as well, and we would just make this group of broke depressed things. And again, it's a dual double-edged sword moment because it's beautiful to have somebody that you can talk about something with, but then when the depression became the identity and lifestyle and people were just drinking and partying every day to try to not deal with stuff, that's the brokenness I'm talking about. Because now you're in this cycle of thinking that it's normal to feel like you have to drink and party or numb yourself just to be around people and engage with them. And if you have enough people around you saying it's normal, you're going to feel it's normal. And I'm sorry, I came from a place of my dad was an addict and other things, and it's like I know what it's like when somebody really is giving up everything for that momentary escape, and then they look back and wish that they gave more to others and themselves. but instead they gave it to that thing. And so that's just an example of saying, like, try not to, again, I'm not saying isolate yourself and evolve yourself, but when you're broken, you have to know you're broken. Don't feel bad about it. That's the part that I think makes people feel worse about when they're going through something, is they feel like, because I'm broken, I'm not valuable. You're valuable, but you also are not in use right now. You're out of commission. So pull yourself to the side, gather yourself however you need to, and then come back. And then when you're healing, when you're back in commission, you let people know, hey, I have some work done. I'm not going to run the way I used to run, but I'm still just as efficient and I can be here and available the way you need me to be. And however that looks for you, that's what you do. But again, you have to remember that everything on some level is going to come back to how we decide our healing journey is going to look. Most of us don't know what that looks like. And I find myself by myself all the time thinking I need to do it a perfect way. And it's like, no, just let it happen. I mean, literally, it can be a conversation with someone or they say something. And if I'm thinking about it the next day, that's a moment where I'm recognizing, like, you're not completely healed from that. And I go back into it and say, okay, well, what is this thing? If I'm thinking about the next day, what is this thing that's making me feel this way? And I acknowledge it and I talk to it and we work through it together, because anything that can take space or inventory in my mind and emotions, it is its own entity. It is alive at that point. And I need to talk it back to where it's hibernating or where it can go off into another place and deal with someone else, right? Because all emotions are shared. We are all going to experience some level of all emotion at some point in our lives, because we all are born and we all pass away, and there's a spectrum of space in there where nothing happens, and then one day people start passing away, people are born, people graduate, people leave, you stop talking, and then you start learning, like, okay, this is part of the journey. And you're going to have many moments of feeling broken and not wanting to participate in society, and I say do so. That's okay. Take yourself out for a while, get off social media, don't talk to people if you don't feel like it. Just make sure you're not trying to push yourself back out there too soon, and you're taking that brokenness and creating an identity that it's then calling in more of the same thing that you don't want. Versus healed or healing, where I've done the work, I can do the work, and I understand that it's not going to be easy, but I'm prepared and I want to feel that I am able and capable of walking through anything regardless of what's handed to me. And that's what we call wisdom. That's how we get stronger, because you start walking into it and facing it. When you don't face it, you become more broken. When you face it, you start healing it. And eventually one day it's going to be some scar where, again, you look at it, you remember what it was, but it doesn't hurt anymore, so you don't care. You can just laugh about the memory. That's just as simple as it's going to become as we keep going into this world and trying to learn and experiencing new things and taking on new thoughts and ideas. If we don't understand how to fall apart so that we can put ourselves back together, we're going to keep trying to be perfectionists to the point that we're excluding others out of our own experience because we don't know how to help ourselves. Remember, even if I was the smartest person in the world, I had to learn how to ask people for help. I had to learn how to be like, I'm hurting right now and I need someone to talk to. That's good, right? That's the healing process. Then there's times when everyone's calling me and I just don't want to talk. And I know that anything they say is going to irritate me. And I'm like, I'm broken right now. I need to sit down and put myself back together. And then when I do that, I go back and interact with the world, because it's always going to come back to you. How you do it, how you want to do it. Again, I'm not trying to be a motivational speaker. I'm telling you how I felt it, how I experienced it, and how I know it. You have to allow yourself to accept all parts of you, no matter how ugly it is. And if you want the beauty of it, you have to plant it, replant it, and let it grow into what it needs to be, and just go with that energy, okay? I love you. Hope that makes sense.